Far too often, LGBTQ plus business owners believe they have to choose between authenticity and being successful. Through these real-life stories, LGBTQ plus listeners aspiring for success can gain valuable insights to navigate their path to being both queer and successful. Hello, everyone. It is me, Hunter J. McNair, your hostess with the mostest, back again for this week's episode of Queer and Successful. This week, I am joined by Bob McCranie, who is talking with us today about how to build your brand and your strategy. I hope you enjoy this week's episode. As always, you can take part in them live every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by visiting successfulcall.com. Without further ado, take a listen. No. Well, I'm excited to have you with me today because we're going to
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, because we're going to be talking about, branding and something that I know that you've been really vested in talking about. So happy Monday, everyone.
Yay.
It is July 14th. We are over halfway through the year, which is so exciting and also very wild to think about. We are joined today by a good Judy of mine. And Bob, how long have we known each other? I mean, we've at least been acquaintances for a long time.
I was 14 and you were 12. That's all I'll say. I don't remember exactly when.
That makes sense.
Back at an organization we met in I think in Florida at Fort Lauderdale at the convention, probably 2010, 2009 timeframe maybe.
Oh no, it would have been Palm Springs probably. I ain't been around that long. How old do you think I am?
Since we're live, I'll just say
I was in my first year of college in 2010.
Okay, well.
But I think it was probably I would say 2015. Okay. But why don't you tell everyone a little bit about you though? Introduce yourself.
Okay. So I'm Bob McCranie. I am the owner of Texas Pride Realty Group. We were Texas Pride Realty. For 10 years, we ran independent. And then in 2020, in January, we moved as a whole team under a larger brand because at the time I had my mom to care for and I did not need to be broker in charge anymore and look at all the contracts. And it was probably one of the best decisions I made. I didn't want to be distracted with her care and miss something and get people in trouble. So, and this was 2 months before something called a pandemic happened. So it was really good to have a larger structure in place. I'm proud of the way I ran the company for 10 years, and I'm proud of the way the team is continuing on. We are Texas Pride Realty. Some people get what pride means, and some people think I just love Texas, and other people get that it's for diversity and inclusion. We started out in 2009 with the idea that LGBTQ inclusion, and we then broadened that to be everybody. So yeah, it was quite a growth. When I got into real estate, I was with my partner at the time. We were in North Dallas, outside the LBJ loop, and there were two mega lesbians running gay real estate in downtown Dallas. Everybody thought that everybody who's gay lives in 75219 in Oak Lawn. And so I kind of started a niche of business for LGBTQ people outside LBJ, outside the loop. And it just started growing because we do live everywhere.
Yeah, because you've been doing that since day one. What year was that?
I got into real estate in 2003 and I started the company in 2009.
Okay, so in 2009 you kind of said we're just going to do this whole we are.
I went with the branding Texas Pride in 2009. I actually bought the name 2 years ahead because I wasn't sure when I was going to launch. By the way, always buy your name well ahead of when you're going to launch. But I did when I started in 2003. I worked for one of the two mega lesbians, and I love them both. Love you. Lesbians are great in my life. And so I literally started in 2003 advertising in the Dallas Voice for LGBTQ people outside of LBJ. Janelle wants to be called a mega lesbian. You take it, run with it.
I want to be a mega lesbian.
Yeah. So I just have always looked for that niche or the underserved community my first partner and I, when we bought our house before I was a real estate agent,
Hmm.
um, our agent at the time introduced us as brothers everywhere.
Oh gosh.
And then this is 1998. And the cable installer came to our house and figured out who lived there and left. So we had a different cable person go, and not a hate crime, but just inconvenient and just that sort of, that, oh, you're not really together. We can't introduce you as partners. Our insurance agency at the time could not insure both of our property in the same house
Mm.
because they couldn't have two men on the same policy. So one of us had to be listed as a tenant to insure our property. Guess who that was? And guess who was upset about that? So, you know, there
Yeah,
were things
it's a
that
wild.
weren't dignified,
Yeah.
and everybody deserves dignity when buying and selling a house.
True. And we've come a long way, but also not at the same time. And we've talked a lot about this every week where, we get comfortable and then when we get comfortable, we start to kind of regress, right? And we go back to some of those things happening in real time. I mean, coming from 2003, sodomy wasn't struck down until 2003, and you're in
Mhm.
Texas, right? So
Mhm.
what
And
was
that law is still on the books.
right, right. So if it was struck down, then we'd be back to square one on that, right?
Yeah,
In
we
Texas.
we I instantly become criminalized in Texas again, and there are seven other states that still have the sodomy law.
Yeah. How did, how did you kind of, I mean, you were working for an out lesbian team. I mean, how did you advertise that without like fear of some, backlash on that?
At the time, I was doing it in the queer media.
Okay.
And that would get me some things. And then I got involved with politics in the town I was in, Carrollton, Texas, and got involved with the city council races. And I got involved first with the mayor's race. The son of the congressman was running against this sweet lady, and I knew the congressman hated us. So the son of the congressman's probably he ends up being a nice guy in this story generally, but they're not going to be for us. And so I met the lady who was running against him. And this is back when websites were a new thing. AOL was still sending you free discs for time. Ask your parents, it's in the archive.
Yep.
And so I made her a website, and I basically watched every episode of West Wing I could and helped run her campaign. And we beat the congressman 51.1%.
Hmm.
And suddenly they were asking, okay, who's this gay Democrat guy on her team? How do we get rid of him? And the next year, when the other city council seats came up, I helped three of those city council members, made their websites, did their PR, did their stuff. And the Republican Party, local Republican Party, had a meeting about me, public meeting about me, called the three candidates and said, you have to drop him off your campaign. He cannot become somebody that people get to know. Two of the three called me and apologized and said, I'm so sorry, but you can't work for us anymore. Would you leave the website up?
Interesting.
And the third one told them to go bugger off, and he just kept me, and he still won. So it became a thing of, when you try to assert your civil rights and your equality, you get in their eyesight.
Hmm.
I'm not asking for special rights. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just vocalizing my support for a candidate who likes families like mine.
Right.
Oh, you shouldn't do that. You're too loud.
Right. And you were able to, I mean, you're coming in a time in 2003 where the internet is not that big, right? And then you're kind
Right.
of, how did you even fall into like being good at this kind of stuff with like website SEO and branding in that way?
I was in IT for 19 years before I got into real estate.
Got you. Okay. So
Yeah.
you kind of like
I
had,
grew up with I grew up with computers that took a floppy disk and a dot matrix printer, and you had your TV screen as your monitor, and cassette tape backup instead of a diskette.
yeah.
It's this has taken a lot of work to look this young. No, it hasn't. But I literally grew up on this stuff. So
Yeah.
it comes naturally to me to do some of these things. And of course I'm getting education and training in how to be better at marketing, how to be better at my business. Because
Yeah, I mean, how would you say it's really evolved over the last, I mean, it's evolved a lot, right? So like, how have you slowly not only evolved the marketing tactics, but also how have you just kept up to date with everything coming out? Because there's just so much.
well, can I give a plug to Tom Ferry? Tom Ferry
Sure.
Coaching has been amazing for giving out training. I am a coach with them, and I'm proud to be a member as well because I'm still needing to learn. I'm also getting my master's degree in digital marketing management. I'm right now in the middle of writing my dissertation in the use of virtual reality, augmented reality in real estate sales. So
Mhm.
that's so much fun. 12,000 words on that. And thank you. It's just you always have to be learning, and I'm looking for the underserved market here,
Mhm.
and one because I'm a business person, but two because somebody needs to serve it. This
Right.
is where like 3 or 4 years ago, we had a Carrollton Pride where I was in Carrollton. We had our first big Pride City Pride event. We'd been having dinners for years, and we'd been having election forums for the city council and the mayors, and ours was always the most fun because we'd ask the most interesting questions. The mayors and
Mhm.
the city council people like coming to our forum because they got the juicier question, not where do we put the crosswalk? And so we had our big pride event, and 600 people showed up in suburban Dallas, and it was like that was amazing. And I talked to my friend while I was there. I was like, I think we need to talk about people getting out. This is
Right.
just after the first Trump administration. Biden was coming back in, but every conversation I was having with people, especially in the red states, blue states have a different life and I love them for it. But in the red states, it was what's your plan B? Where are you going? And some people were
Mhm.
like, I'm going to stay and fight. Okay, great. But
Right.
2/3 of the people were like, Mexico, you know, you
Right.
know,
Getting
somewhere
out.
blue, somewhere purple, somewhere whatever. So
Mhm.
we started the Flee Red States project because we started with Flee, Texas, and
Mhm.
almost immediately got overwhelmed with people outside of Texas and was like, holy shit, this is a conversation everyone's having, you
So
know.
what it sounds like is that you have been proactively over the course of your career, not only stayed up to date with everything that, technology is presenting you, and we all should be professional students to a degree, right? Because if you're not growing, you're dying. But also, you're kind of constantly staying aware of what the needs of the specialty or the niche
Right,
community that you're servicing has to be, and really
right.
just staying on top of that. Because I know it's changed over the last 20 years. And what you're mentioning specifically with Fleeing Red States and the site and things that you've created with that is you're just constantly kind of staying ahead of what your niche is needing. And you're getting on top of that to provide, to be the person that provides that for them. Is that right?
And you brought it up earlier, the
Mhm.
sodomy laws were in place.
Right.
Now, they were overturned, Lawrence v. Texas. Marriage came in,
Yep.
Obergefell v. Hodges. And
Hmm.
so we got those rights and we had to educate the consumers, and we serve all the communities, but our largest part is LGBTQ. We had to train them about, now that you have marriage, how do you take your house title? How do you still have your papers you should have as a couple? Things like that. We were having to modulate our message and grow with the times. Now, as we're looking at those possibly being rolled back, we're going to have to talk about, okay, your marriage used to be legal, but now it's not. Here's how you need to defend your property rights. Here's how you need to defend your license. If you're a criminalized person again, can you hold a real estate license? Can
Yeah.
you hold a real estate license in your state now that they've repealed that? I mean, transism will be illegal. I think it's September 1st in Texas. Can you hold a
Mm.
real estate license if you're trans? If you're an illegal person. So that's where I've been urging people, and you asked me in the earlier question, I'm licensed now in 3 states.
Right.
I wanted to have my license in various states strategically. One, because I wanted web presences in those states so that I could just gather leads and refer them out. That's big retirement plan for me. But also, I wanted a license in a blue state. Just in
Mm.
case something happened in a red state, I can know my license is up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting how we have to kind of stay on top of everything, and it's very smart of you to continue to do that, to continue to jump ahead of it. And I'm sure that comes with the years of experience that you've had with your messaging. Do you just keep that messaging really consistent across regions, like across the states? Is it just like I constantly have one consistent message and we mirror that everywhere, or do you try to vary that up?
Um, no, in the other 2 states, I'm licensed in Delaware and Florida and Texas. The other 2 states, it's really just right now a web presence. I haven't devoted the time to cultivating a personality in those 2 states yet. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a website that I'm bridging my websites with some of my client websites, my coaching clients' websites. I want a website that goes all the way up and down the Atlantic coast, wraps the Gulf, and comes down to Texas. I want you to be able to shop for beachfront property on the whole Atlantic seaboard. And I'm this close to having all the states I need to do that. If anybody's in Louisiana or Georgia, reach out and you have a site that I can help with.
Cool.
That would be great because I want to have that sort of coastal connected website.
Mm.
I don't want to put Zillow out of business because I never could, but I want to be that little mosquito that Zillow doesn't even see, that just takes enough of their business away
And they don't notice. Yeah.
that they don't even notice. And I make referrals and somebody goes out and sells it. I don't want to drive around South Carolina and sell a house. I want to give somebody in South Carolina or North Carolina uh, a referral and let them go sell the house.
Well, and this is no tea, no shade, but against you, this is actually tea and shade against another website called gayrealestate.com. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mhm. You
um,
broke up a little there. Sorry, keep going.
well, I don't know anything about the owner or anything like that, but part of their thing is that you pay like 40% referral fee, and we have a lot of our stuff SEO optimized to attract LGBTQ plus people to us. And we had some incidences where they would register on our site and then register on that site, and then they would still try to like get a referral from us. Long story short, I now own gayraleigh.realestate.com, right? And a few other things because, it's kind of reclaiming that market share of like other companies that are kind of keeping it from us. Um, and I think that that's a smart thing to do. And I want to kind of dig more into that SEO because I know you're good at that. For someone who doesn't know anything about SEO, like let's just start as like a bare bone thing. What's the first thing that someone should know about SEO? It's a weird word.
Okay. Search engine optimization, which is now also being replaced or updated with, like AI optimization.
Hmm.
You cannot, the first thing you probably need to know is you cannot pay a couple $100 to a website company each month to bank you a website and do nothing with it. It's like building a new construction home and never putting a stick of furniture in it.
Okay.
Okay. When you go to that new construction home, it echoes when you walk inside. It's uncomfortable. There's no bed. Oh my God, this place sucks. What happens is
Mhm.
people get a website built, they never personalize it. And 2 years later, they're going, oh my God, this place sucks. I never got a lead from it, nothing. You need to go put your personality into it. You need to blog. You need to talk about your area. You need to become what they call the digital mayor, system here. And Gary Vaynerchuk is who I stole that from. I don't know if he stole it from somebody else, but I give him the credit. You need to talk about your town. Where am I going to shop? Where am I going to eat? Where am I going to take the dog to the vet? Where am I going to take my clothes to the cleaners? If I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, I know you'd sell me a nice 3 bedroom, 2 bath house. I get that. Where's there good Mexican food? Where's there good Italian food? Where do I take my car? That sort of
Mhm.
thing. Show me your town. Okay. And do that on your site so that you get that attraction. By the way, we're selling, say it with me, houses. Have
Mhm.
a site that has tons of houses on it. Don't have a site that's just you and your realtor pose with your dog and your 5 people. We don't care about you right now. We love you, but we'll meet you later. We want to see houses. I
Right.
tell people it's like going to the gate agent at the airport and you want to check your bag, get your boarding pass, and get over to TSA. But no, you got to meet Sally first, meet her whole team, understand she's been with the airline 35 years and she loves knitting. Take my bag,
Yeah.
TSA. Get out of the way of the houses. Get the houses up there first because that's what they're here to do. And we're
Yeah.
told it's all about our personality. It's not until after they love a house, then they'll register and want to meet you.
Okay, so we're saying what we should be doing on our website specifically, though, is like doing blog posts talking about like what it looks like to actually live in that area
Right.
on the site. And that in itself will innately create search engine optimization.
Because, well, it's going to help because you're going to be talking about Raleigh, North Carolina. You're going to be posting about the ice cream shop in Raleigh, North Carolina. You're going to be mentioning homes for sale in Raleigh, North Carolina. Now, here's the other thing you can do. All of us have a box on our website that says, put in these variables and find a house.
Hmm.
What if you went ahead and put the variables in for Raleigh, North Carolina homes over 600,000 with a pool? And then you grab that URL and you make a blog about Raleigh homes in North Carolina over 600,000 with a pool. Okay. And then you varied it and said Raleigh homes, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. You just went and created all these searches. They could go find them themselves. But
Right.
would Google more likely send you to a link that is already pre-made?
Hmm.
Okay.
And
It's like
yeah. Oh, I was going to ask, like, I mean, when we're talking about blogs and that kind of stuff, like, how often should someone be doing that on their site to keep it
twice a week
twice a
minimum.
week? Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, and now with AI, right, being like so big, I mean, it's so easy, right, I mean, it's so easy to create a blog, right?
It
Or should
is
we not
easy
be
to
doing
create
that?
a blog, but I really, okay, this is where I'm going to be old man screaming at cloud.
Tell me, please.
I, nobody reads that.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, I got an email from another coach the other day thanking me for something we did, and I could tell it was totally AI.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sending a Hallmark card. I love you just as much as everybody else who bought this 1,000 cards loved somebody else. No, write me something specific. Okay? Tell
Mm-hmm.
me why you like this ice cream shop.
Mm.
Why is this the best place to go get Chinese food?
Yeah.
What is it about you loving this town? Not, you know, AI drudging up some reviews and figuring something out. AI
Yeah.
has its place, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think it's being used like tofu. It's being jammed into every food we order, and nobody ordered tofu.
Yeah.
I
Well, this is
love
what I tell
tofu. I'm sorry,
people.
that's a different podcast. But
Well,
totally,
what I tell people with AI, which I love AI and I think AI is great, and I think what people mistake it for is that it's like a calculator. Like it gives you what you feed it and it gives you the result that you want from it, but it doesn't make the result good. Like just because 2 + 2 = 4 doesn't mean 4 was what I was looking for, right? Like it's only as good as what you input into it, and people should stop using it instead of using it the way they are, which is like just writing stuff for them. They should just be using it as like an idea helper, just as like a
yeah,
sidekick to come up
yeah.
with stuff. And
I
they're
think
using,
there are whole systems right now being rolled out where the agent is being detached from the client
mm,
by communication, by creating an avatar of yourself, and that avatar goes and makes the video, not you. Your voice is automatically imprinted and stuff. And I'm like, that's not know, like, and trust conversations.
mm,
Okay? People want to know you, like you, and trust you. If I know that this is not you right now talking to me and it's an avatar, I'm gonna be like, why am I talking to an avatar?
yeah, yeah. And people want to know also that the person that you are online is the same person they meet.
Right.
And so
And I
it's
think
like,
there's some digital security issues too, because like my bank wants me to record a statement so that when I call in, it can voice identify me. I don't want something else, you know, to talk like me. First of all, the
right.
pitch would never be high enough, but it would just need to not be, they would need to not do that. I just think that's a data security issue.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, and speaking of kind of like that kind of stuff, when we're talking about video, because video is becoming really pertinent, and I think Instagram is actually changing their rules soon, where all your videos that you post on Instagram will actually be Google optimized. I don't know if you knew that or not. That's like a big thing. And
Yay.
I'm kind of worried about that because I'm like, what do I need to delete? Because I don't want everyone finding everything, every client seeing every Instagram video I make.
Hunter, I think it's only Instagram, not those other sites you need to worry about.
No, no, it's not the other sites. Those are clean. No, no, I'm more raw than anywhere else on TikTok. So if you really want to hear me be like, just randomly rant about something, you can go to my TikTok. But I'm pretty clean on my Instagram. But video has been such a conversation and it continues to be a conversation. I feel like what's going to happen with AI and things like that with Google is that I think they're going to start reading things and figuring out if they think it's AI and not promoting that stuff. That's just,
Well, Google originally said that they were going to do exactly what you just said. They were going to depreciate AI until they came up with their own AI and they said, well, maybe.
mm,
And so it's like beta and VHS right now. We got
mm,
ChatGPT is the VHS tape and Google is the beta tape. And we're trying to figure out which one's better. And some guy has Claude over here, which is, your laser disc. And it's just
right,
nobody's really using Claude or Grok. And I mean, the brainy people are, and somebody's gonna write me and say Claude and Grok are amazing, wonderful.
right,
Um,
right.
but Google obviously owns Gemini. Microsoft owns ChatGPT. Okay, Claude is a combination of Google and Amazon, not minor players,
Mm,
and Grok is obviously the people at X. So you
right.
got to decide who you want to play with there. Any of those large language models you want to use are fine.
Hmm.
I think right now what we need to be doing with it is introducing ourselves to it.
Right.
Okay. because it will not go crawl the internet and learn all of Hunter's lovely, listings and stuff like that. We need to be introducing ourselves to it because it will not say, hey, Bob asked me about this. But if Bob says something in there, it will use that in future stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a long conversation with my Chat GPT bot. I feel like I need to actually name it. But I've had a thing where I was like, tell me what you would want to know about me and what you need to know about me for me to get
Yes.
X, Y, Z done. And then we just have a
Yes.
long, conversation where I answer things and do all that kind of voice stuff. So how are you, looking at SEO with AI and, any type of thing with that? Like, how are you investing more in that? And Google ad spend, is it changing now where like we have to spend less money because of all these optimizations, or is it, what does that look like right now?
Would Google make decisions that make you spend less on ads?
Probably
Uh,
not. No.
and so I how am I changing this? I'm still learning it all. I'm still learning it all. Um, I think that I don't know which way the shoe is going to drop, put it that way. And I'm
Hmm.
trying to cover too many bases at once. I will be honest with that. Um, I want my website to have organic traffic.
Right.
When everybody used to have, remember back in the day we had Facebook ads. And then
Hmm.
Facebook got in trouble with HUD and everybody ran out the door to Google and now they have Google ads. And that was kind of a shift for me where I was like, I need to not be depending on either of these people for ads. I need to have a stream of business coming to me. Let me go learn better about that.
Yeah.
And so I did. And I do have I get 2/3 of my leads are organic, 1/3 is paid. And I don't run my own paid ads. Google and I had a problem one time. I tried to put an ad in. I was going on my pre-honeymoon, and I put an ad on Google, so my agents would be busy while I was away for 3 weeks. And Google came back and said, "Sorry, you put it in wrong. We're not running your ad." Okay, fine. And I think I went and tweaked it again, and they said, "Nope, it's still wrong. We're not going to run your ad." And I was like, "Okay, screw it. I'll do it when I get back." While I was away and not reading my email, Google sent me an email that says, "We fixed your ad. It's running."
Mm.
I was running an ad for $500 a month. They fixed the ad to run for $500 a day.
Oh no.
And while I was away for 3 weeks, they drained $8,000 out of my account.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Did you
Google
just
and
get annoyed
I,
about it?
uh, oh, I was away. I couldn't answer them. So anyway,
Oh,
long
that's
story short is
awful.
I let somebody else who's smarter than me run the Google ad. Okay. And I
Mm.
keep it very tight on the budget there. So and that's a great thing. If you don't know how to run these things, if you don't know how to SEO and you're better at selling houses, let somebody else take this on. Building your site out, doing your Google ads, doing whatever you need, hire it.
Yeah.
Because you can get somebody to do this stuff and let you go out and sell homes because that's where you make the money.
So let's kind of talk about what that process would look like, right? So we've got a site, we've got an established site. Let's say it's gayraleigh.realestate.com, just because that's easy, right? We've got a site that it's set up, it's built out, you've got things there, and you're like, okay, I want to run Google ads. Do you say you should try it on your own first? Do you think you should hire out? And if you hire out someone to do it, what does that look like financially, and how do you find those people?
Usually your website provider will have their own staff to do this. Um, and they will offer you, a deal for that. That can be beneficial. Like I know I'm a Real Geeks customer. I don't get paid to say their name, but I am. And I have a $600 a month ad spend with them. Half of that is their management, half of it is ad spend.
Hmm.
So,
And that's
now
really,
here's what I will say, and I won't mention the names of the ones I think are the worst. A lot of the SEO IDX companies, the IDX website companies, do not give you the ability to do SEO.
mm,
They don't give it to you because one, you wouldn't understand it, and you're just so silly. Why would we even give it to you? And two, why would you buy their Google ads if you can go do SEO? It's not the cost of the printer that gets you, it's the cost of the cartridges.
mm, mm,
Okay. When they can hook you with a website and then immediately sell you, just get you addicted to the Google ads. And I have people I work with on their site or coaching clients that come in and like, we're getting leads every month. And I'm like, well, if somebody came in and bought your keywords higher than you, or for 1 month your credit card got shut off or somebody stole your number and you just whatever, your
right.
business does this because you haven't built a business.
Now you're specifically talking about like other competing real estate. things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well,
Right.
in
Like,
any SEO scenario, in any
yeah.
SEO, if you're depending on paying for ads to
Hmm.
drive business to your site, the moment somebody else comes along and buys those keywords at a higher price, or the moment you stop for a month for whatever reason, you collapse the business.
Right. Right.
You need to have organic. This is just my thing. You need to have organic traffic coming in so that if something happens, you still have a flow.
So you would say like focus on getting that organic flow happening first and then start investing into Google ad
I
spend.
think at first you need some Google Ads to get some flow
Just to get it
started.
going. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And by the way, I don't get paid by anybody say the name. Bing ads are cheap.
well, I'm
Now
sure. Yeah.
Bing is only about 7% of the search market. Okay. But when you buy a computer, it comes with Edge and it comes with Microsoft products. And if you don't know how to turn off the right features, you can't even download Chrome because Microsoft pushes you out of that. So when your uncle goes to the store and buys a computer and doesn't know how to get into Chrome, he's going to be stuck in Microsoft world.
Mm.
The people who are using Edge are usually a demographic who are older, more mature, don't know how to use a computer, but they have money.
I was going to say, but they got the
I
money.
saw your fingers go. I saw you got where I was going. That Bing ads may be just a little bit more lucrative depending on the niche market you're going for.
Interesting. I mean, and for the queer community specifically though, like, I mean, are they on Bing? Maybe they are. A lot of old
I
gays
don't
have
know.
money. A lot of old gays have money.
We need to have a study run to see,
Apparently,
where the
it's
Bing
like
bears are.
the 10% of the 7%, we got to find them. Now,
Yes.
now I know you also do like event-based marketing too, right? Like, do you incorporate, your events and your community driving stuff? Do you incorporate those into your site as well? Like, how do you
Not
market?
really. No,
Yeah.
we have not done that as well. We usually go to about 4 or 5 Pride events across Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth. We would have shredding events,
Hmm.
shred truck. Now those weren't necessarily for the gay community. Those were anybody who had,
Really?
you know. And so, identity theft stuff, come shred your last year's taxes and whatever. And
Right.
those were always fun in Texas because we actually had people show up with stuff in the boxes that you can't shred, like bullets. Seriously, like we had people somebody brought their he had dental office, brought all these x-rays, and we can't have those in the shredding.
That's it.
Um, yeah, so
Yeah.
the events were always fun, but we didn't really put them into the marketing as much or
Yeah.
the SEO as much because they were just in person.
Well, it
Um,
sounds like what you're doing though is really a funnel system, right? It's like how
mhm.
do we have this at the top end, we have leads coming in, and then we want to funnel them into a new spot where we can now advertise in-person events, follow-up opportunities, things like that. So
Right.
for all those events, right? Like let's say someone registers on your site or click something on the site and then now they're in your database. I'm assuming you're inviting those people to those events.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And you've kind of had that funnel working for you. So that all makes sense. When you're kind of translating branding strategies into any coaching curriculum that you're doing, what are some of the things that you're telling people they should be focusing on?
Well, first we need to know what your brand is.
Hmm.
We need to know your unique selling proposition, as Tom says. Why does somebody hire you? Okay. People think I could sell you this mouse, or I could sell you another mouse.
Yeah.
Mice are interchangeable. They're pretty much different colors. Maybe this one has a slightly different texture. This one's $2 more than that one, but they're going to do the same thing. People think real estate agents are interchangeable. If I
Mm.
can't get Hunter to show me a house today, I'll get Steve or Margaret or Sally or whoever. No, we need to be unique. So what is your reason that people hire you? And I will sit there with somebody on a Zoom call and we're not moving. We're not talking about anything till we get this statement out.
Mm.
So what is your brand say? It needs to be a microphone drop moment. Mine
Right.
is I run a diversity centric brokerage in a red meat state. It tells you who I am, what I'm for, and who I'm not. And that's fine. What
Right.
is it somebody should hire you? From there, then we come up with strategies. Okay. And under those, we put tactics. Each strategy is aimed at a different demographic. I mean, advertising, sort of, but I think what we're all doing is we all, or not all of us, because we're all better than this, but we're throwing tactics at the wall. Yeah, I
Hmm.
made a reel
Hmm.
today. I'm doing an open house tomorrow. I'm going to be flyering the neighborhood and knocking. How do those serve your strategy and your brand?
Well, and I made a video about this that you commented on where I said piss people off. on Queer and Successful, and it wasn't just about like pissing people off because you don't, you want to rage bait things and whatever. It's more about thinking about how you can't do things and expect not you can't do things and expect to not blend in if you're doing everything just to blend in. So you have to do things that are a little bit more unique to you, and you have to do things that are different in order to grab anyone. Because if you're trying
Yeah,
to appeal to 80%, you're not going to appeal to no one. So we've got to focus on the 20% that want to hire us, right, for who we are, etc. And I think that a lot of people get really fearful of that because they're like, I don't want to commit to being a specific person or an identity because then I'm going to not appeal to people. But it's really quite the opposite. Like we really appeal more to people when we are ourselves.
I agree with everything you just said. I don't believe, and this is just not me personally, I am not for everyone, and that's okay. I
Hmm.
think when you're trying to be universal, you're you're not really you're being not being authentic,
Right.
you know? I just I don't need somebody riding around in the car looking at houses figuring out that I'm gay and having a gay panic situation. Seriously,
I mean, I know, I
in
get
a
it.
red state where everybody's weaponized, it is a concern.
Right. No, I mean,
So
we've,
yeah, they
our
need to know up
team,
front that I'm not who I am for and who I'm not for, and
right.
let them weed themselves out.
Well, and our team has always said we're the out and proud, real estate team in the Triangle. That's been
Yeah,
our one thing. And in 10 years we've been doing it. And 10 years ago, I mean, so ironically, I signed on with Keller Williams. The day I got licensed was the same day, was June 26, 2015, which is Oberfell Yachts. So it was the exact same day. And so, shifts, I mean, mindset shifts have happened in a decade, right? Even from then, because marriage equality was the day I
right,
started
right.
real estate. And, people thought I was wild saying it back then, but I'm not hiding it. Me and you, Bob, our voices are way too high to hide it. Like,
You're
people,
saying I can't pass? Yeah.
no, I go to the drive-through and I try to order something and I try to make my voice lower and they just still say, ma'am, I can't,
Same thing.
I
How are
can't.
you, ma'am? Would you
I'm
like anything else with the order? Yes, I'd like my gender back. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, my name's Hunter. I'm a guy. And they're like, anytime I call a 1-800 number, and they're just like, all right, Miss Hunter. I'm like, no, it's not it. But I digress. So, kind of leaning into, I think what people need to learn is that you really have to lean into your brand in order to even have a strategy,
Yeah.
right? And if you don't.
Otherwise, you're just throwing tactics and you're not unifying them.
Well, and you're just like everyone else. You're just doing literally what everyone else is doing. And,
Hmm.
and I think that these conversations happen in non-queer spaces too. I think like, I think I hear a lot of agents talk about, well, I want to be the soccer mom, real estate agent, and I want to do that. And you do find that people who commit to neighborhoods or commit to a certain niche, in the non-queer space are successful. So why would it not work?
If you are a soccer mom and that you got the kids and you great, there's your niche.
Yeah, and it works.
If you're not, and I think one thing that people do is they emulate the person they just saw online.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, I
uh,
think that's the biggest mistakes that people make is they try to emulate.
right.
Um, and I think what you need to start thinking instead of like what I do, which is I look at what everyone else is doing and I say, what do I not like about that? Because I want to do what I like to do and
Or
set
how
people.
can I make it different?
I'm gonna make
There's
it different, better.
There's a
Yeah.
lady on TikTok, and I wish I could remember her name. And she strikes a weird, she's lanky. So she strikes a weird angle and she'll be like, this home is where you can have your worst dreams. She has this really dry delivery about horrible things that, you could think about while you're in this home. And oh, by the way, there's a half bath. And she has this weird delivery that is just mesmerizing.
Yeah.
And I've seen 7 people try to rip her off now.
And only
Or
she
to
could.
denigrate her and tell her this is not how you sell a house, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, she's unique. It gets my attention. Now, do I know anything about her in the house? No, but I mean, I'm watching her TikToks
Right.
because it's different. And
Yeah.
then I immediately start seeing mimics pop
Right.
up,
Well, and this is what I will give. I'll give a warning on this though for like people who are like, oh, I got to instantly run out and start making TikToks and go viral. Is like you still have to make sure that you have a means to capture data
which would be your
because
website.
which is going to be your website. And so I think that I do know about a lot of viral real estate agents who have like these millions of views, but they don't get any business because they don't have the foundation. And so, I think the messaging has to be that you always have to have your foundation. You cannot always just leave with creativity. It's good to have that, but you have to still have things like your website and your branding and your strategies really fleshed out in your business, right?
I have slides that would totally fall exactly into what you're talking about here, that I teach this all the time. And the
Yeah.
other thing I want to tell people is that you don't have to, you every property does not belong on TikTok.
Hmm.
Okay. If you're selling, there are four types of personalities we talk about.
Yep.
No, I can't think of it because I'm trying to think of it. The analytical, the driver, the amiable, the expressive. A
Yep.
driver is going to be probably getting a different type of house than an amiable.
Hmm.
Okay. If you have a tract home that's built in the 1950s and 60s near parks and schools, that's going to be somebody who wants to just be loved and have, everybody over for Thanksgiving. That's a belonger house. Put it
Right.
on Pinterest where belongers can like, share, and love things.
Mm.
If you have an achiever home in a gated community where every house is different and nobody can afford to live here, put it on LinkedIn. It
Mm.
doesn't belong on TikTok. It belongs on a place where drivers would go. Short, sweet, to the point. Put it on, Twitter or X or whatever, derivative threads, whatever the short, sweet, to the point site is that drivers would go to. They're not going to spend time scrolling Facebook.
Now,
Okay.
you're saying personality types here, right?
Personality, each
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of
yeah.
these websites, each one of these social media sites, you can look at them and say, which personality type is this site aimed at?
Interesting. I
And
never
if you're
thought.
selling a home, I've got slides for this too. If you're
Yeah.
selling a home that is fits that personality type, put it on the right, put it on the right social media. But we
Hmm.
force people into Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok because they're the big three we all should channel into here. Those homes aren't going to sell on there. And to your point, if I get a lead on there, I have to remember to carry that lead over to my CRM and put it in and hope that they gave me their email and phone number.
Right.
Oh, I get DMs all the time. What do you do with them? Because it takes up to 2 years to 3 years for somebody to buy a house. Are you DMing them every day? Or did
Hmm.
they forget you and go buy a house with somebody else?
Yeah. I mean, are you using any type of like on your sites, are you using any type of pop-ups to like get people to, sign in or like create accounts
On our
or
socials?
no, on like your websites and
Yeah,
stuff?
it has a pop-up with it
Okay.
that people can sign in through, a little chat bot. And by the way, the great thing about that little chat bot on the site is even if they say they don't want texts or emails from us, they can't say they don't want chat bots when they're on our site. So we load things into the chat bot. So when they come back, they see that.
Pops
Hey
up.
Steve, I see that you've been looking at 123 Banana Street, you know,
Right.
come back and look at this other thing. Even if they disconnect from our other drips, they have to see that when they log in and they can't disconnect from it because they're on our site.
Right. And I think even like because I use Wix is what we use. And it has the chat feature, but if bases it off their IP address. So if like if they leave from the site and they come back to the site, the message will still be there if I message back, which is interesting. Which is weird actually. Sometimes it's really weird. The internet's a funny thing. So how
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
recommend people convert though? How do you think people convert? How do we start converting from social media into our databases? What do you
Your
think?
social medias need to be focused on your website. You need to be sharing things from your website over to your social media. You need to be creating pages for your properties, share them to social media. And when they get there, make them log in. One of the worst things you can do is not force login.
Hmm.
Let me say that again. One of the worst things you can do is have a website and not make people log in. It's like you and I run a clothing store and we're going to give them the first three. They can steal the first three shirts, hoping they'll pay for the fourth one. Because we don't want to be mean and we don't want to make them pay for the first three shirts, make them pay on the first house. And they pay with their digits. If they're not going to pay for the first shirt, they wouldn't have paid for the fourth. Let them go somewhere else. But we get over 100 leads a month of people actually signing in. There are occasional people who give us Mickey Mouse or whatever,
Yeah.
but a lot of them end up being good. And we have
Hmm.
to incubate. It's not the people that we get this month that we're going to close. It's usually people we've had 2 years. And we
Hmm.
have an ISA who calls them, and then our
Right.
agents are supposed to call. Our agents are supposed to call them, get to calling. And we have drip system emails, we have texts going out, and we're just trying to churn them in. And
Hmm.
it is a funnel. At the top of your fingers, you need 1,000 people to get 100 people to register, to get 10 people to answer the phone, to get one person to close. It's not a sales hallway where one person enters and one person buys. It's a sales funnel. So when you get that call and they hang, no, don't ever call us again, click. It's kind of like back in the day with the radio stations. Did you ever call in trying to get tickets to a concert?
I wasn't old enough to pick up the phone and call, but my mom did. So,
Okay. So they would
yeah.
always be, my nose itched right then. So it would always be where caller 25 gets the tickets and they'd be like, hi, you're caller number three. You're caller number four. You're caller number five. When you get that person who hangs up and you'd be like, thank you, caller number seven. Click. You're going for caller number 40, who actually picks up the phone and talks to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Yeah.
this is $1,000 phone. This is not $1,000 texting device. Okay. It goes to your ear quite conveniently and you talk on it.
Yeah. What? We use these to talk to
Oh
people?
my
So
God, really?
weird.
That's so embarrassing. Why would we do that?
So why do we do that?
Yeah,
My phones all only have cords. I don't know. With, you know, what would you, I mean, in general, right? Like there's so many nuances to this. I think that, the lesson overall should be to tell people that like your website is really fundamental, but you have to really think of it as an entire ecosystem, not just like I'm going to do one thing and that's it.
right.
Like
Your
you've
social
got to
media,
have, yeah.
if you look at the funnel, top of funnel is awareness and I'm sorry, I got to look here. It's awareness and interest. Bottom of
Mm,
funnel is retention. Social media helps you with awareness, retention, awareness, interest, and retention. It does not help with conversion in the middle. That's where your website comes in.
mm.
Okay. You've got to integrate the two together. And I can tell you if you're on Instagram or TikTok, you cannot embed a link to your website in those, a live link, unless
Right.
you're a special account. Facebook, you can embed live links. I get more leads from Facebook than I do from Insta or TikTok. Now on Insta and TikTok, you get DMs and you got to carry that information over. But
Yeah.
that's you having to do data entry.
Yeah, I would say that's true. I think Facebook's way easier to convert that, which is fascinating.
YouTube Shorts, same way. YouTube, you can put a link in. YouTube Shorts, you cannot.
So, and you're meaning like embedding the link into the video?
No, here's a video of 123 Banana Street. And you put that on a TikTok, you have to say, go look at my profile for the link.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
goes to the profile. Very few people go to the profile and look for the link.
Yeah, you can
In
do like a
Facebook, you
learn
can say, here's
more.
123 Banana Street and put the link in the post,
Right.
and it takes them right to it. And people do click on that and go to it.
Right. And like the learn more, like you can make it
Right.
really for that. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and are you seeing, where are you seeing the best ad spend return? Would you say?
I don't run Facebook ads. I run Google ads. Really, the only ad I run right now is Google. So that's all I can base it on. And I don't even run those. They run it for me. But I'm outpacing it probably 2 to 1 or 3 to 1 with organic.
Love
So
that.
yeah.
Well, it builds upon itself, like
Yeah,
the more.
exactly. It's an appreciate. And let's talk about YouTube for a second. Let's talk about appreciating sites versus episodic. Episodic sites, you have to make a post. It gets a lot of likes and views, and then it goes away. And you got to make another post. And if you're 2 days off Instagram, you're dead, basically. You got to always be pumping that well, right? And you have that parabola you're chasing. YouTube is an appreciating website. If you make a video, that video can be a pertinent your result anytime. And the more you change the keywords and update the description, whatever, that video just grows. Good luck finding something that you saw on Facebook or on Instagram 2 days ago. You won't find it. But you can go to YouTube and you can search a subject and that video just keeps appreciating over time. I think YouTube is a better play. And YouTube Shorts, frankly, are a better play than Instagram and TikTok.
It is interesting. And I
Over
think,
time, I think it's
well,
going to.
and I think too, because there's not as many people doing it, right? Like people aren't putting their stuff on YouTube and stuff. So you're also
Well,
feeling all this competition.
that opens another door. As our country divides, there are new social medias coming out on the left and the right where people are not on there full time yelling about whatever they're doing. There's no mega realtor in your town on Blue Sky or on True Social or on whatever. Go
They might be
stake.
on Truth Social.
I'm throwing them both out there just in case somebody ever
Yeah.
sees these. Um, Go out there and stake your claim in those new territories.
Right.
There's a land rush going on. If you want to think about it in that terms, there's new territories opening up. Go stake your claim.
Well, and honestly, you think about TikTok, like I would say the people and it was the same way with YouTube. You think about the early founders of YouTube and the early founders of TikTok are the people who've got the most followers,
Yeah.
right? It's always about like finding the time to be in that.
Substack. I mean,
Right.
go out and create your Substack and get in there and find your niche and establish it before somebody else goes out and takes your place.
I love it. Now
Yeah.
we're gonna move into like if people have any questions or anything about this, but before I do that, I just want to ask, looking ahead, do you have any kind of big brand bold moves that you're going to be making within the next 1 to 2 years that you're excited about? Is there any, what do you see your branding and stuff looking like in
Oh
the
God,
next?
I can't look past the next 6 months. Honestly, the whole industry is shifting into, AI optimization and stuff like that. I'm redoing a lot of my pages to be hopefully show up in the AI snippet. And I'm working now to, like I said, to make that whole East Coast integrated site pay off. I've got the sites. I've got to keep working on them, and it's going to be probably a 5, 7 year project, and I just need that to keep going and building. And that's a retirement for me. Some people have retirement houses. I'm going to have retirement websites, you
I
know.
mean, work on what you're good
Yeah,
at.
I mean, I can do that and just sit here and type, type, type. So for me, it's about, I think the basics of SEO will still be there no matter what.
Hmm.
There will still be crawlers running websites to pull up results, whether it's through an AI result or whether it's through an SEO result. Um, and I think that at some point, Google will probably get too big for their britches and be broken up.
Hmm.
I think it's because Europe's already looking at breaking them up a couple times. Because they own the search engine, they own the Android software, they own everything, and so many businesses, if they get delisted by Google, they're out of business.
Yeah.
Okay, there will be a new player, just
Hmm.
like when the internet first started. You had Alta Vista, you had Yahoo, you had all these other search engines that were not Google.
Yeah.
Okay, so the big players we're playing with now were not in existence 15 years ago. Who's the next big player? We probably don't even know yet.
Well, it'll be like what Netflix was, right? It'll be like whoever can figure out what the consumer wants fast enough to outpace how quickly
Right.
Google can match it. And that's probably
Right.
why Google has tried to get really into AI because they probably see ChatGPT and these other, as
Well,
competition.
what happens is a new startup becomes popular, gets some capitalization, gets going, and then once they're going, they start gobbling up the ones underneath them that could be a potential competitor. So you start
Hmm.
to see these mergers and acquisitions taking that product back off the market with that could have bloomed into something bigger.
Mm.
Okay.
Yep.
So, once you get a position, take out the base that could come after you. And that's why Microsoft bought ChatGPT. That's
Right.
why, these mergers happen, and that's why Amazon and Google are both running Claude, because we don't want Claude coming up on its own and taking out either one of them.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, we're in.
capitalism, it's fun.
Yeah, we're in an interesting time with all that, but it's, I think the point of all of it is to say, like, you've been doing this so long that it's something that you will constantly have to stay on top of. But at the end of the day, nothing is going to replace remembering to put yourself out there, having a clear understanding of your branding, and just staying true to that while paying attention to what the trends are.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was an excellent way to sum it all up.
I'm pretty good at that.
You've done this before.
I've done this a few times.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Bob, for
Well,
this
thank you for
enlightening
having me.
conversation. Yeah, and then we'll have a couple minutes if anybody has any questions before we wrap up for the day. Thanks for listening today, friends. If you enjoyed this call, do not forget to join Queer and Successful, the community on Facebook, as well as register to participate in these calls live every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern at successfulcall.com. See you next time. Bye.